So here is the front master cylinder. This is the piston and the piston kit which we are going to replace with the new one from genuine Suzuki spare parts. Make sure that you have this free movement of the piston inside the cylinder sleeve. These are all the parts of the rear master cylinder. Should be nice and smooth. Now these will last many more years to come and many more adventures to take. Now if you do this as I have shown you detailedly, this would hardly take 30 minutes to assemble both the master cylinders, if you do this as I have shown. Welcome to Room Brothers. I hope you are safe and sound wherever you are. I'm sure you guys are thoroughly enjoying the Suzuki Jigsaw project that we are currently working on. And if you guys are paying close attention to it, we have been dealing specifically with the area of brakes, where we have dismantled and inspected the front and rear master cylinders in a specific episode and then restored them back to mint condition, which is far more superior than any manufacturing would do because of the paint quality and the specific processes that we have done. I'm sure you guys have watched these episodes. And in this particular episode, we're gonna put them back together. So I will be changing the piston kit and then the O-rings and then the rubber seals. So if you ever want to work on your brake master cylinders, you simply have to watch these episodes and that's it. No matter what cc of motorcycle you have or what brand of motorcycle you ride. Because I have gone to detailed lengths to explain each and every process specifically. As I have already mentioned before, the reason behind making these specific episodes is not to gain views or subscribers, but rather to build such an automotive community which are both knowledgeable and skilled at the same time. And at the end of the video, I'll be sharing what it would cost you if you choose to rebuild your front and rear brake master cylinders completely. And especially I have to give credit to these Japanese machines because they are super affordable to work on, and you will be shocked to see how much it has costed me to rebuild these both master cylinders. So stay tuned. And if you find this channel worth watching and learning something out of it, then I highly recommend to subscribe and follow it. So let's jump onto our workbench and let's start putting it back together. Let's go. So you will be needing these hook and pick tools, pliers and the circuit pliers, and most importantly the brake oil to lubricate the pistons and then install it. Every time that you are servicing or inspecting your brake master cylinders, make sure that both of these holes 1, 2 and here 1, 2 are properly cleaned and they are clear. These are the primary hole and the secondary hole which maintains the brake fluid pressure inside the casings. So make sure that both these holes are clear while you are working on your brakes. So I had something stuck on this front brake master cylinder secondary hole. I'll show you on the screen in a bit. And if you have something like this, then all you need to do is find a thin wire and clear the hole and then get back to work again. So here is the front master cylinder. All these components are going to be refitted back. This is the piston and the piston kit which we are going to replace with the new one from genuine Suzuki spare parts. Now this is what a piston is with the seals on both ends. Now this combined with the spring is what moves inside the master cylinder and pushing the brake fluid to help the brakes. Now it is my best practice that I like to examine all the new parts with the old ones, making sure that they are of same dimensions before replacing them. Now when it comes to the springs also, you can see the old one is corroding from the inside, whereas the new one is shiny. Now this is the push rod with the spring and the dust boot assembled as new one from the piston kit. Compared to the old one, the spring, the push rod and the rubber boot. The old dust boot looks a little bit worn out being on the road for 8.5 years. So this has to be lubricated before you install this. I'll show you in a bit. Look at the old spring condition because of corrosion and wear and tear, and look at the new spring, nice and shiny. So you take the piston, the narrow end of the spring goes onto the bottom like this, and make sure that it is moving freely. Then I like to take the banjo bolt and cover the other end of the master cylinder, so that while I'm installing this, the brake oil or the grease doesn't seep from this side. So before you begin, make sure that you clean the insides of the master cylinder. Take a little bit of brake oil so that we can lubricate both the inside of the cylinder sleeve and the new piston kit. And make sure that you don't get this brake oil onto any of these painted parts, because it may damage the paint. Then apply little bit of grease on both the seals. Not much, just a little bit. Then the spring section goes first. And then the piston. And make sure that you have this free movement of the piston inside the cylinder sleeve. You see right here, it's a little tricky for the camera to pick it up, but you understand the point, right? Yeah, this free movement has to be there. Then goes the circlip. And make sure that the circlip has properly locked inside by moving it back and forth. There you go. Then this push rod along with this spring is what goes on top of it, like this. And it needs to be properly lubricated. Now make sure that the center of this push rod sits flush with the center of the piston. And make sure that the rubber boot sits flush. The last step to check whether you have fitted it right is to push the spring. It should be nice and cushioning, as you can see here. And also make sure that while you are pressing this push rod, make sure that the spring inside the cylinder sleeve is also getting compressed. You can just have a feel of it with your hand. This is nice and smooth. A little bit of grease for the O-ring. And make sure that this minimum level written on it goes this way. Push it. Then take the spring lock and insert it nice and careful. Make sure that this doesn't fly out, so have your finger just so that the push rod and the rubber boot doesn't fall out. Let's fit this freshly painted brake lever. This looks dope. And make sure you have little bit of grease inside this indent, because this is where the push rod pushes into. Take the screw and insert it inside. Then begin to tighten it. Take the nut and tighten the screw from the bottom itself. And make sure that you have this nice and smooth hand movement. So let me just clean this brake switch before we install it. Generally, for every manufacturer, there is a certain indent that is provided which sits into the casting. So make sure that you properly sit this into here. Just like that. And the screw, after you install the brake switch, make sure that you hear this clicking sound. This is where the brake switch is getting pressed by the brake lever. This ensures that the brake switch is working properly. Now the last step would be take the diaphragm and place it nice and top. Take the top cover, then the screws. Take the handlebar casting, insert the screws, and you are done with the assembly of the front brake master cylinder. It's that easy. Hardly it will take you 5 to 10 minutes. Now when it comes to brake bleeding, we're gonna do it when we assemble the bike all together. Now let's head on to the rear master cylinder assembly. This is the new piston kit for the rear master cylinder, which involves the rubber boot, spring, piston and the piston seals. These are all the parts of the rear master cylinder, and this is the old piston kit, this is the new one, and make sure that you examine and inspect the old parts with the new one. They are of the same dimension, no irregularities there, and also the springs. Then the dust boots. Again, before we begin, clean the cylinder sleeve with a clean rag. Then I like to use the rear banjo bolt so that the brake oil or the silicone grease doesn't seep in from the other side. Ordered this silicone grease straight from Japan. This is a genuine Suzuki product. So we will be using the grease for the piston seals. Now if you have any doubts while installing, just look at these old parts. The piston seals goes this way. So we're going to install the same way on the new ones. Just a tad bit of silicone grease as it slips nicely into the piston. That's it. Just a little bit here. And that's it. Make sure that the seals are seated properly. Just move them a bit. Seated perfectly. Just apply a tad bit of the silicone grease on the seals so that the piston slips nicely into the cylinder bore. Then install the spring. The narrow section goes here, just like that, and the wider section goes into the cylinder bore. Take small amount of brake oil and lubricate the inside of the cylinder bore so that the piston goes easily and it's properly lubricated. Now because we have put it on the banjo bolt at the bottom end, the brake oil doesn't seep in from the other side. Now take the piston kit and slowly push it inside. Now this is where the spring action should be. It should be nice and smooth. Now once you have lubricated the plunger or the push rod, this goes and sits flush with the piston. And then you have the circlip which locks the push rod into the place. So make sure that you have this and the circlip pliers in handy while doing this. It's a bit tricky to show this part clearly on the camera, and make sure that you have one finger in place so that the circlip doesn't fly out. Now once you install the circlip, make sure that this is moving freely like this. This will ensure that the circlip has properly seated in the indent. Now remove this screw from the behind, and then the rubber boot has to go and sit in the indent that you see right here. So before we do that, we're gonna pack it with the grease. There goes the dust boot, and that's it. Once you make sure that the dust cap is properly seated in the indent, the last thing that you do is press it and see. Now the push rod is working perfectly because of the action that you see here. Then you're gonna press it a little bit further and you can feel the spring inside the cylinder bore also getting compressed. Just like this. So that's when you know that everything is working perfectly. If the mic can pick it up, you can literally hear the piston inside the cylinder bore also functioning properly. Then take the adjuster screw and then fit it. Now there goes your adjuster, then the lock pin, and then the quarter pin. So we're going to adjust this leveler based upon the foot pedal position while we assemble the motorcycle. Now here is the rubber seal and the flange which goes on top of it. So apply a little bit of silicone grease, insert this, and again make sure that while you are fitting this last part, the primary hole and the secondary hole are clear. I'm sure the camera can pick it up. Now insert the flange. Make sure that the flange sits flush with the cylinder. Then fit the screw. Now take the reservoir and start assembling it. The rubber diaphragm and the plastic plate, then the top plate, then both the screws. Now take the brake hose which connects the master cylinder to the reservoir. Now this completes the assembly of the rear master cylinder and the reservoir. Now we're gonna fit this while we are assembling the motorcycle. Now there goes your front and rear master cylinder fully assembled with new piston kits and rubber seals all over. Now these will last many more years to come and many more adventures to take. As you guys have seen, these turned out to be pretty good, and as I said at the beginning of the video, I'll give you the total budget of what it would cost to replace the interiors of the brake master cylinders. The front brake master cylinder kit will cost you 370 rupees and the rear master cylinder kit would cost you 640 rupees. I'll put the screenshots on the screen, and these are genuine Suzuki spares. Now the plus point that I would like to add at the end of the video is, because this is a Japanese machine, a Suzuki, parts are super economical compared to any foreign motorcycle brand. Now if you do this as I have shown you detailedly, this would hardly take 30 minutes to assemble both the master cylinders, if you do this as I have shown. Now because I am recording it to show it to you guys, it has taken me around 1 hour. Now for those of you who are keen-eyed, you might have noticed a filter missing on the front brake master cylinder casing. I'll put a screenshot here. This part is on back order from Suzuki and it's taking time. Now as soon as it comes, I'll install it. It's nothing but a simple part which you just have to press it and then install it. Nothing more to it, which filters all the dust and the foreign particles that collected at the bottom of the reservoir. So that's it, and from the next episode I'll be working on the brake calipers, which is more exciting and interesting than these, so stay tuned. And until then, I'll see you soon. Peace.